3 shots, 4 par, I just do 2. 1 putt, par 4, birdie, woohoo. New driver, info, replace, M2, par 5, fairway, what you fin do? Think I'll try to get on into, start right, good line, good view, it drew. Shooter McGavin, 2 thumbs that's up high and 2 fingers.
They win 60 games, lose in the first round, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, that's when they got swept by Columbus.
Yeah.
All right, let it be known that we're recording now here. So from anything from this point on
Is in.
is in or is potentially in. So yeah, Bryce, I did not say the Boston Bruins were the best hockey team of all time. That would be like Patrick Waugh, Colorado Avalanche circa, that's it.
I do happen to think Patrick, I'd say Kenny Dryden, probably the 2 best goalies ever to live. I think those 2 guys are great. Yep.
Brodeur's up there, yeah, for sure.
Oh, he is. He's up there. I think he's probably ranked. If you look at stats and everything, I think he's number 1 or 2.
He's number 1 in wins now, yeah.
Yeah. But hey, my hero was Roy and Dryden, I hate to say.
Yeah. Dominic Hasek too. Dominic Hasek.
Bobby Lou?
Yep.
There's so many arguments.
Yeah. Bobby Lou's like on the outside of that argument looking in, but he's.
I mean, not far though.
No, not far. But he's a top 10 goalie of all time.
Yeah.
But before we go on, just for the record, Mac did say that the Boston Bruins should win the Stanley Cup. I think he said that.
This guy's full of it, man.
Hey, I will admit right now, if they win the Stanley Cup this year, I will not be surprised.
No, I don't think anybody would, man. It's like, I think I don't know, how is it right now, Bob? Is it like, is everybody all in on Allmark right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, you gotta be. The guy's a stud.
Yeah, I know that, but like, this is a first-year stud that we've seen. This is a career 1B guy, right?
Who cares? Look at Matt Murray. The guy gets thrown in with the Penguins, wins 2 cups.
I know that. I'm just saying, is everybody convinced? Like, the pedigree of the team is undeniable. Like, they have, debatably the best line in hockey. They have one of the best bottom 6s in hockey when you can't even squeeze Taylor Hall back into the lineup, but
when you think about Swayman, if you think of Swayman and Allmark, I mean, it's a tandem that I don't think you see in the NHL right now. I think it's when you look at total wins and all that.
Yeah,
I think there's a huge confidence, and I think in each one of them, each one has a confidence that, hey, I can go out and win.
Yeah,
but Allmark, nobody saw that coming. I mean, come on, who saw it
came out of nowhere?
I think
I don't know what it is. I couldn't even guess. But hey, that's the way it happens in the NHL.
There's a movement like that though lately in the NHL.
I took him in the 8th round of my fantasy draft.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's so nice, man.
No one knew about him.
Well, he was. It's not like yeah, like that's about where he was gonna go in most drafts, I think.
Yeah, well, at the start of the year, I don't know if people knew who was going to start for Boston.
No, I know that, but like most people like him in that area, but just you being the lucky person who got to draft him, obviously, in the way that's panned out, right? Like that was because, like, taking him in the 8th round, so early 90s.
It's funny because I thought a lot of people thought he would start this year because Swayman was a little iffy last year. He was young. Everybody was kind of like, but like I said, they both stepped up. But
wasn't the rumor?
There's a difference between, as you both know, there's a difference between regular season hockey,
right,
and playoff hockey. I mean,
what is that? What is that supposed to mean, Bob? To a couple Toronto fans here, yeah, we're well aware of what the difference between regular season and the playoffs are. Yeah,
I didn't mean it. You know what? I wasn't thinking that clearly. I wish I had thought about that, but I didn't. But
it hurts.
No, but
it hurts.
You guys know. I mean, it's. I'm not saying Canada knows that. I'm saying just generally speaking, in hockey, it's playoff hockey, and so anything can happen in playoff hockey.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Like, well, we're like, I think before we hit record here, we're talking like Columbus shutting out, like going 4-0 against Tampa in 2000. Was that bubble? Was that in the bubble?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So
maybe the year before, maybe? I don't remember.
But either way, like going 4-0 and then obviously Tampa. Like I saw a stat the other day, they played 72 extra games over any other team. I think over Boston was the next team. Yeah. So 72 extra games over Boston. And that's a whole season in 3 years. That's wild, man. That's just a crazy amount of extra hockey games, but
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
I just think the Bruins this year is so deep. In fact, you know what the joke up here is? They
I know. And then you pick up Bertuzzi, another guy who can put the puck in the net, but also, like, I don't know. I think you guys got a really good team right now, and it's pretty scary to look at.
Not fun for the opposition right now. Did you guys hear anything there when I was unplugging the mic? Do we get any bad spikes? Okay, nice. All right.
We actually have to talk golf.
I don't have to cut it then. I don't. We can just do hockey. We've this is probably 4 weeks in a row. We've started off with like 15 minutes.
We've been thinking about
pod.
segmenting the pod and like going like a first segment of hockey and then golf.
Really, we're just using this as a platform that we can upload it on multiple databases, so we can just get it out to more people.
Hey, that's my sport. Hockey is my number one. I have to confess, it's my number one.
Yeah, it would be my number two for sure. Definitely still number two. I don't know. It's been hard to watch this year. Like, not just the game's just different. But I guess if you're a Boston fan and you got what's the announcer's name down there, Bob?
Jack Edwards.
He's the biggest homer.
He's out of his mind.
He's the biggest homer in the league too. He's like, it's great because you just like it's just a pro Bruins, like completely. Like I remember hearing Bob McKenzie up here being like, "Oh, you become like a sports fan and you don't cheer for just the Leafs or whatever." Yeah, he is. Jack Edwards, is that his name? He is just full Boston Bruins.
You know what? He's everybody here. There was so many people that hated him, but love him now. It's like he's just so far. You know,
I could see that.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good.
I could see that for sure. But if you've stuck with us this far, and a couple of Leaf fans we've probably lost in the process. So Bob Winskowicz, owner, founder of SQAIRZ Golf, huge Bruins fan. So Boston native. No, you're not a Boston native, are you?
Yes, I am. I'm a Boston native, and I moved up here to New Hampshire about 8 years ago.
Okay, all right. Got out of the Boston area anyway, but I feel like it's the same for most of us. Like Brycer is still a Leaf fan, even though he moved to Michigan. Would that still be your closest team though, Bryce? I guess
Detroit, buddy.
Detroit, yeah. I guess you go right through Detroit, yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, so
not so bad. Looking pretty good this year.
Detroit's going to be a good team, man.
They will be.
They're doing the right things.
I still will never be a fan, but they're close and they will be. So
still be good to go watch games. Easy to meet up and watch games with like buddies.
And their new rink is awesome to go watch games in. So
yeah, well, that was the Little Caesars, right? That's one that went to see Chad at when I saw you there. Yeah, it was so nice there, man. It looks like a video game inside of that place. Like it's so cool. Really cool. But yeah, Bob Winskowicz, founder, owner of SQAIRZ Golf. This is a golf pod. We're going to talk a little bit about golf at some point here. So, Bob, anybody who hasn't caught this is number 3, I think. I think we've been around the pod a few times here. So, anybody, anybody who's not familiar with you and the brand, can you give us a quick little overview of who you are?
Sure. I mean, SQAIRZ has been on the market now for 3 years. We started, 3 years ago. And after about 5 months, we had the opportunity to partner up with Sir Nick Faldo. It's, I think we told the story on one of the podcasts where he called us. We never called him, and we sent him some shoes and fell in love with them. And, here we are today. But, the SQAIRZ shoe was all about ground force. It was all about looking at golf shoes today or actually 3 years ago, looking at the shoes and the way they constructed the shoes in the sense that they were making them very light. They were very flexible. And there's a saying in golf footwear that if you can twist it, toss it. If you can hold a shoe by the heel and the toe, and I can show you one right here. If you could take one of these shoes and hold it by the heel and the toe and twist it, it's not a golf shoe. It cannot facilitate the golf swing. So, we felt there was an injustice there that, ground force is really the key to hitting the ball a long way. Same with balance and stability. Without balance and stability in pretty much any sport, any ground-based sports, you're not going to hit it long and far if you're not balanced and stable. So we looked at that, and we designed a golf shoe that improved people's balance, stability, and ground connection. And I liken it to the days when Callaway launched the Big Bertha and Ping launched the Ping irons. Is that, Karsten Solheim with the Ping irons and Ely Callaway with the Great Big Bertha, they were after perimeter weighting when they launched those clubs. And when they got done, they looked radically different, but they didn't let the look dictate, the design. It was the other way around. The design dictated the look. And that's what we did. So we started with a more square toe. And again, I just want to put a footnote. I don't put myself in Ely Callaway's and Karsten Solheim's category. I do not. But just the mindset of not worrying about looks, but looking about performance and functionality, and then worry about looks afterwards. That was secondary. So we started with a square toe golf shoe, and it's not perfectly square. It's got a 70 millimeter radius, but it's more square than any other shoe. And that allows the toes to sit naturally in the shoe. And because of that, your toes sit naturally, you're going to have better balance and better stability. Now, because we can start with a square toe under the base and the ball of your foot, we can widen that without this looking like a clown shoe. Because if it was rounded up the top and you widen this, it would look terrible. So because of this, we can widen the base. Now this too is going to give you better balance and stability. But now when you look at the total surface area coverage of the shoe, it's far greater than any other golf shoe out there. That means better energy exchange with the ground. So a better balance, better stability automatically, inherently transfers into better accuracy because you're better balanced, better distance because you're using more of the ground. So that was the thing. And here we are 3 years later, and we just launched the new Bold shoe, which I know you guys got in your hand. And, we really went after aesthetics this time with the same technology. So, we're here 3 years later, and, we've won tournaments on the PGA and the Champions Tour. And, the brand is growing because people see the benefits in the product.
Mac here for BioSteel. We absolutely love this one on the pod. The hydration mix has been in our golf bags forever. The hydration mix has been designed in the most natural way possible to help you stay hydrated throughout your round of golf. Zero sugar formula is made from clean, quality ingredients and contains no artificial flavors and colors, added vitamins and minerals to help support overall good health, normal function of your golf swing, and your immune system. Simply mix it into some water, and you can enjoy it through all 18 holes. Clean, healthy hydration. Zero sugar, natural health product, no artificial flavors or colors, no artificial sweeteners, no preservatives, caffeine-free, NSF certified for sport. Biosteel.ca, biosteel.com. Use the promo code SQAIRZ30 for 30% off your order. SQAIRZ30 for 30% off your order. Stay hydrated, my friends.
Yeah, one of the best marketing gigs of all time is Sepp hitting a hole-in-one on Monday at the Masters with the shoes.
I got that awesome text, man. I got that text from Bob like right afterwards, and I was like, "That's perfect for the pod. Like, this is perfect timing."
It was came up on my today. Instagram, and it didn't say who hit it. And like, I looked closer, and I know Sepp's like kind of a heavier set guy, and I was like, "No way!" And I looked, and I saw the shoes, and I was like, "Wow, that was Sepp." I was like, "That was awesome."
It's actually these shoes.
Yeah, I noticed that. I did see that.
The blue, and he's been wearing them. Actually, he won him in the 3M.
Yeah,
where he went. He won him at 3M and a couple other tournaments last year. That's when he went with Zalatoris about 4X Pro.
Yeah, and he had 1 foot. Like, we were actually texting at that point, Bob. I think we might have talked just right after that too on the pod, or just right before that. And we were saying how it was like perfect for marketing for you guys when he's like got 1 foot in the water. He's not sure if he's going in or not. And they're kind of zooming right down on the feet, on the shoes. And it's just like, I can see Bob just like salivating. Like, this is just like perfect viewership. This is perfect for the shoes. And like, yeah, I was, as we were talking, I don't know if we had flipped them on yet, but I was saying too, because with each iteration of the shoe, it seems like you get more and more, like it's got more and more of an athletic look. I know you said you went for, like functionality first. That's all there. Bryce and I have a few pairs each of these now, and we've been wearing them for a while, but like they're getting more and more like athletic looking. Like, is that something that you guys are focusing more on now? Is it taking away a little bit, or do you think the technology's there so you can focus in on making it look a little, I don't want to say it doesn't look athletic, but you know, you're putting more of an aesthetic appearance towards it, I guess, right? More design aspects to it.
No, I would agree with everything you just said. We started out and we launched the shoe, and it was, hey, this is the look we really worried about. Not worried, but we really wanted to put forth the science and technology. And as I said, the look of it was secondary. And then last year we launched the speed. We changed it up a little more athletic. And this year we said we're going to get a little more bolder. We're gonna really go and focus and really be determined to put forth a shoe that people says not only does it perform, it really looks good. So, you know, that to your point was exactly what we're after on this. And we launched 6 colors. You know, we've got a red, an orange, a lime. We've got a black, a white with blue, and a white with black. So it's
right. Yeah.
And the fun thing about this brand too is that with every shoe, 2 pairs of laces come with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah. So if you've got the blue shoe, it comes with a white lace, but there's a blue pair of laces, the matching color of the base of the color. There's a matching lace in there. So if you want to just play around with your look, and again, we're trying to get that younger look as well. But it's a fun pair of shoes. And they perform.
So for anybody who hasn't tried them out before, I know I've actually got quite a few of the guys that I golf with who have asked about them when I've been wearing them. I've asked about them a little bit. I have like the ones with John Daly's face on them too. So those catch a lot of looks when you're out on the course, which is awesome. But one of the things that I always mention is the laces. Like, I don't know if they're like stay put laces. I don't know what you would call them really, but they're like, as soon as you tighten them, they just stay put. Like they don't, like I can kind of do it here, but if I like pull them, you can see like it does not loosen. Like it just kind of stays as it is, which is one of my favorite features. Like, I think it's just one of those things. You tighten them up and you have the exact same, you get them comfortable on the first tee and they're fine for 18 holes. You walk around and there's no problem.
That's a very important thing in footwear making is that, or it's important in footwear making, but one of the keys in the golf shoes is there's 4 things that I think a golfer should look for in a golf shoe. First and foremost is structure. If you can hold it by the heel and the toe and twist it, don't wear it. Please don't wear it. I don't care if you don't wear ours, but just don't wear that shoe because it cannot facilitate the golf swing. Your foot will literally move in that shoe, side hill, downhill lies. And if you're a 200-pound guy swinging, you're using 200 pounds of force into the ground that comes back up through. And that shoe, that shoe can't facilitate that. So the structure is number 1. A wide base under the ball of your foot is number 2. That gives you better balance and stability. Number 3 is traction. If you're playing with a shoe that is spikeless, again, stop it. Don't do it. I'm going to give you some facts here. 82% of all tour players wear a spiked shoe, removable spiked shoe. 30% of them are still wearing a metal cleat. All of the majors last year were won by somebody wearing a cleated product, not a spikeless. So when you think about that, there's a reason why these guys are wearing that, because they want the balance, stability, and ground connection, and that ground connection gives them the power. And the last thing is bringing the upper material, the top of the shoe, down comfortably on the foot so your foot is one with the shoe. It's very similar to hockey and a skate. You don't want your foot moving in that skate. Same with a ski boot. Same with any other kind of sport. You don't want your foot moving in that shoe. And those are 4 of the most important things. And you picked up on the laces. But those little details are really what makes SQAIRZ the product that it is. And one other little detail that people don't consider is on this shoe, we sew inside of each side of the tongue. We sew a gusset. A lot of shoes don't do that. The reason why we do it is not so much the tongue moving, but so sand and water can't enter the top of the shoe. So this shoe is literally waterproof all the way almost to the top of the shoe because we sew a gusset there. And when it rains down on the top and it pools on the tongue. So it's not so much somebody stepping in a puddle that's the problem, it's the rain on top. So again, to your point, Mac, it's just these little things that we put into the shoe that I don't think a lot of people do.
To put you on the spot, Bob, do you know the material on this one?
It's what we call a synthetic upper.
Okay. So this is waterproof, yeah?
100%.
Yeah, you can just tell by the
2-year
feeling.
guarantee.
Okay, yeah.
And it's the same material, literally used in, I think it's about 90% of all the soccer shoes out there. And the reason for that is because soccer, you make those quick moves and starts and stops, and you don't want the material giving. So it was something that was proven out there, and there's a fair amount of golf footwear companies that have adopted this type of upper material.
Is this on all the bolts?
Yes, it is. Yep.
It's lighter, yeah. This one's a bit lighter. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. It's about 1.5 ounces lighter than all our other models, except for the mesh. Yep.
So I was just gonna get into the mesh because I think we had you on before that release last time. Any good traction on the mesh? Are people enjoying that model too?
Absolutely. You know, and that's something that there are people that play down in Arizona, play in Arizona and Florida, that, you know, in the high temperatures, that need a lot more breathability. They walk, they want that breathability. And I was never a big fan of mesh shoes, and I swear I'd never do it. That's why they say never. But we found a way, even with the mesh shoe, that you can't twist it. So the structure is there with the shoe. The upper material, surely it has a little more give than the synthetic. It's a lot more breathable. It's water resistant. But again, there's certain things that you give up in order to get. You know, if you want more breathable, you want something that's a lot lighter, there's a give and take with structure there. So that's why in our line, in our brand, we try to offer both a mesh, you know, and a synthetic.
And you think it's just like, okay, so on our last pod, we spoke a lot about where my Golf Spy had the shoe ranked, and I think it was number 6 or something like that on stability. Stability and like, I guess the grip on the ground were like the top 2. I think it was like you were in the top 3 on those. Number 6 for, I think, comfort or something like that. So anybody who, don't quote me on that, anybody who's interested in it, go back a few months, kind of check the pod out, because we dove deep into like where the shoe is ranked. My Golf Spy does a ton of testing, so there were only 2 shoes. I think it was the Adidas Tour 360 and the
Tour Alpha.
Tour Alpha.
Tour Alpha, yeah.
Okay.
And we were voted last year and this year the most stable golf shoe.
Yeah, the most stable golf shoe. Yeah. So do you think that that's something that somebody, once they put on the shoe, you know, they love it, they play a couple rounds in it, and then they say, like, you know, maybe it's hot, or maybe I'm going to a warmer climate, whatever it is. Is that where you think that you're getting a lot of your repeat customers that come in for a mesh, like a mesh shoe? Or do you think people are gravitating towards your shoe over another one that's mesh? Do you think it's a return customer, or do you think that a lot of people are starting to choose SQAIRZ over other brands?
You know, it's a great question, and I can honestly say I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a little of both, to be candid. I think it's a little of both. I think there's always that customer out there that wants that, you know, that lightweight, you know, sneaker-like, breathable type of shoe. And, you know, I spend half of my time trying to talk them out of that. And, you know, because, you know, golf is, if you can provide better balance and stability and structure to the shoe, then you're going to play better golf. There's no question about it. We've done all the testing. But what I say to people is that if you're looking at a mesh shoe, if you want a mesh shoe, we're the best of the best. We're the best of the mesh shoes. Why? Because, again, you can't twist it, toss it. Here's a True Link shoe right here. You know, I'm not picking on them, but I mean, it just happens. So, I mean, if you look at the shoe, I mean, you can take this shoe and hold it like this, and it's you know, that you think about this, you shouldn't be able to do this with a golf shoe, you know. So we provide the structure and the upper material that gives you, you know, if you're that kind of guy out there looking for mesh, we have an offering for you. Personally, all the studies that have been done is that you want an upper that's more structured, that your foot can't give and take on that shoe, but people have their preferences.
Hey, the dogs get hot though. You gotta air them out sometimes, right? But like for me, that's no problem. I'm like,
the thing too is when you angle your toe to the center of the shoe, if you think about it, your toes are angled, and you're walking, you know, 18 holes. You know, in the case of Bryce, he's hitting 100 and something shots. So I mean, you know, you're walking probably 7 or 8 miles if you hit. So I mean, I couldn't resist, Bryce. Sorry. Anyway.
That's all right. I fired a 73 yesterday, and everyone's aware of it already. So
So, but the thing is, if you angle your toes in like this, it's, to your point, the dogs are going to hurt. And if you have to walk that kind of distance, then, with them spread out, you're going to have a lot more comfort.
So Bob, sorry, Bryce, there's something we haven't talked about in the past and that I'm kind of curious about is when you're, I guess we can kind of take it back to about 3 years ago, or when we're trying to develop the new like Speed, Bold, any of the new brands, the Mesh brand. Do you have a lot of influence in it? Like, can you kind of walk us through that? I guess that whole like from one iteration to the next to trials to doing any of the testing. And while we're on that note, if you're interested in a lot of the testing aspect of it, we've had Terry Hashimoto on the pod before. It's probably like a year ago now, but if you scroll back or if you're interested, send us a DM on Instagram. I'll find you the link because Terry explained everything there is to know about ground force reaction and everything to do with the SQAIRZ shoe. Really, really informative episode. So I could send that over to you. But when you're kind of going through, you're trying to create a new version, a new model, or even just from the infancy of the company, do you have a big hand in it? Do you get really into the detail of it? And can you kind of take us through that process a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. And that's where a lot of my passion is in the design of the product. But, the one thing is that, it's interesting when I look at golf instruction today, there's those people who've been doing this for a long time that can look at somebody's swing and they have a good sense of it just because of all the experience they have. And then they match it up with the software today. And the software can guide you where to look. And then it's the eye you have for the swing. And so there's a perfect confluence of science and technology and somebody's experience coming together. I'd like to think that's the same way with my designer. He's got 26 years designing cleated sports shoes. He worked for Reebok, Puma, New Balance, and his last job before he came to SQAIRZ is he spent 12 years at FootJoy designing FootJoy. So he has got this depth of experience designing footwear that performs. And with me, I don't have that depth of experience. And I know where my experience starts and stops. And I think that's what makes it good is that I have a total respect and appreciation for who he is and what he does. And then I kind of add this dimension to it that's outside of the box, so to speak. I'm not looking at it like he would look at it. And so it adds a flavor to it he has got such an accommodating personality that I can come up with these ideas or designs or this what ifs, and he could take it, and he's not the kind of guy that would sit there and say, I don't like that. He'd say, let me think about that, So there's a good balance of experience and kind of outside of the box type of viewpoint. And that's what I add is that outside of the box.
So if he brings you back, iteration number 1, you have a look at it. Do you take it out on the course yourself? Do you kind of walk around it, have a couple swings and have a couple hacks and then say, okay, like I want to change this? Do you guys have a discussion or is it ultimately up to you? Do you kind of go to Sepp or, John Daly, Nick Faldo, any of the other guys and say, what do you guys think about this? Send out an option, a model before. Like I don't want to make an assumption, but I guess like to get something from the start of creation to market, it's got to be months, I guess. Like it's got to be like a year or something, right? Yeah.
Yep, it is. And so to answer your question, a lot of people, when they get prototypes made, they do a size. Historically, it's like a 9.5 in a men's and a 7. Those are kind of what they call sample size of photos. But I'm a size 11 and John is a size 12. We always get it in size 11 and 12s. And we get them in and we wear them. And I'll go out and I'll wear them. And I'll go walk and get the mail. I'll walk the dog with them. I'll do a bunch of different things. And if I don't think they feel right, that's all that matters.
Right.
He could tell me that they feel great. He can tell me if I don't feel right, and I'm just I'm a 10 handicap. So, I look at the shoe and I walk and I feel and I think about how does it feel? Then I'll go out and I'll play with them. John will do the same. And then if we like it, we'll send maybe 4 or 5 pairs out into the market to people we know will test it for us. and they'll come back and they'll say, hey, it's this, it's that, it's this. But for the most part, we've got a good sense because we've got the design down with the shape of the shoe, the cleat, the outsole design. Now it's more of a matter of aesthetics and trying to improve certain areas.
Right.
We're looking at some new technology. A lot of the energy loss is in the lateral side of the shoe. So if you can provide more structure here, in this area of the shoe, you can reduce the expansion in this area that transfer more energy up through you. So we're looking at new materials, we're looking at new designs, but like I said, I have the ultimate say, but there's nothing that I would decide to do that wasn't based upon the science, ergonomics, and functionality of the foot, and that's what John adds. That's the guidance.
And the base, sorry again, Brycer. So the base is pretty much similar from like model to model, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So it'd be like more of an aesthetic thing for, the bold versus the speed, or the speed bold, or versus like the arrow or anything like that, right? So
correct. Yep. The outsole is the same. But again, we always look at that, and we're doing testing right now. If you look at the bottom, it's got a circular pattern around each cleat. We're looking at doing different things there to give better traction, better support in the areas that have the greatest amount of pressure exerted on the bottom of the feet. So we're always looking at how can we make this better, always.
Well, I guess that's how it works, right? Like that's.
Well, I was just gonna say that's what a good company does, just tries to get better and better and better until they can't get any better, but you can always get better. So
yeah, and the other thing we do is we go out and we buy competitive shoes and we cut them open. And we look at them, we test them. There's new materials that come on the market that we may not be on the forefront of that. Usually when a new material comes out, those companies pick up the phone and call Nike, Adidas, or FootJoy. And so, we're going to be on the lookout for new materials and designs and seeing what's popular out there and hitting the right color schemes. There's a lot that you've got to do that's kind of outside of your control. There are trends. You can Google the most popular color of 2023, and I believe it's some hybrid of red. So I mean, those are things that you want to consider too.
So is that something that John would look after? Like, is he following that research? Is he kind of always trying to get that new technology that's coming out to, try and keep his like finger on that pulse, I guess? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And then we partner up with people like you mentioned, Terry Hashimoto, that's, spent a good portion of his life looking at ground force, and he continues to do it. And we talk about things that are just so incredible, just in terms of picking up speed. Like one of the areas we're looking at now is on your front foot versus your trail, should you really flare your front foot? And people say, well, it opens up your hips. That's true. But you know what? If you straighten that foot out, if your lead foot is more straight, you're going to get more distance, better braking. Now, what is braking? Think of braking as like snapping a towel. Like you're going to snap somebody in the rear end with a towel. You stop, and then that towel breaks the sound barrier. So when the front foot, as you're coming through, you brake again. Right before you hit the ball, you brake, and then you clear your hips. So if you flare your trail foot and you keep your front foot straight, well, now you get better braking where it matters, on the lead foot. Because the key to hitting the ball a long way is how fast you can get that pressure, that energy from your trail side to the lead side. So you generate it. Generating it's important, but generating it and then using it is another thing. And it's how much or how fast you transfer it, like anything. And even in baseball, from your trail to your lead foot, that gives you the power.
I swear I'm not this rude. I'm just staring down below the camera. Anybody's watching us on YouTube, I'm just staring down below the camera at the shoe. It's like right here. So as Bob's talking about like the front toe, and we've talked about this with Terry Hashimoto about all the different like spikes, the placement, why they're in all of those. So again, I would encourage you to go back and watch that episode. That's it's just impressive with the location, like why this spike is here, why this one is here, why this one is here, et cetera, et cetera. So, and if you're not watching us on YouTube, I would encourage you to go do the same and subscribe. We're supposed to say that, and we're not good at that. So, but
no, but you know, guys, you know, this is the one thing I enjoy about coming on here is that you know, you ask you ask the questions, and this is what I do for a living. I study, you know, golf footwear, and I study ground force, and we have people that do the same thing, and it's asking the questions so that I can bring it out to educate the people out there. And it's, you know, that's you know, that's what I enjoy about this.
Yeah, well, I kind of get I'm a big gear nerd, so I get right into it too. And it's cool that you explain all this, because a lot of people might look past this when looking at a golf shoe. They might not think into all these, I'm not gonna say analytics, but features of the golf shoe that you guys go so deep into. But I think it's great for you to explain as many times as you can, because when you make people aware of it, it can really bring light to the shoe and really show like how important good footwear is on the golf course.
It's true, because, you know, to your point, Bryce, that's exactly what happens in golf, is that everybody gives the club all the credit, and the next is the ball, and nobody gets down to the feet. And you know, I tell people there's two connections in the golf swing: your hands to the club and your feet to the ground. And you know, being in golf footwear, I argue all the time that your feet to the ground is most important, because you guys know I can put any club in your hand, and as long as I get the grip size right, the shaft right, and the loft of the club or the lie angle of the club right, every one that I put in your hand, between a TaylorMade driver, Callaway, a Ping, or whatever. Look, my Golf Spy did all this testing, and they would tell you that the top 5 best-selling drivers out there, if you can get all that other stuff right, shaft flex, all that, you're looking at less than 3 yards of difference.
Yeah.
But I can tell you definitively that if everybody just pauses for a moment and think of the shoes and the person swinging creates the lightning, all right, creates the energy. The club is a conduit. The club is the lightning rod that takes the lightning and hands it off to the golf ball. All right. So the club is the intermediary to take the energy that you create and put it into the golf ball. So if you can get the shaft right, the lie angle, and the grip size right, you got it all. I mean, there's nothing more you need. But when you look at the shoes, if you're not balanced and stable, and you don't have the right pair of shoes that have structure in it, the club and the ball become insignificant, because your arms follow your body. And if your body is off balance, you're leaning forward, you're leaning back, left and right, that's where your arms are going to go. So I hope that I've just convinced people that it's not the club, it's not the ball, it's the shoes. It's your shoes and your ground connection that really make a big difference.
Quick break from the pod. Mac here from Manscaped, introducing the Beard Hedger from our friends over at Manscaped. With 20 different lengths, you can look good from the cart path to the clubhouse. Shop manscaped.com using the promo code OTS Golf for 20% off plus free shipping. Shop any and all Manscaped products at manscaped.com using the promo code OTS Golf for 20% off plus free shipping. We'll see you on the back nine. This ball rollback doesn't come into effect, and you know, I could see the PGA Tour, Live Tour, whatever, probably not Live Tour, PGA Tour going to like making these guys go barefoot on a Bosu ball or something like that. The shoes might just be completely gone at that point. It's so, you know, like crazy and bogus.
I'm not a fan of that rollback at all. I do not. You know, there's examples in other sports, you know, like college baseball with bats, but I think golf is one of those sports that it's one of those, there's a pyramid of influence, and you take the tour players, and we all aspire to swing like Tiger, to be like these guys. And, you know, the beauty of the sport is you can be like them for 1 or 2 holes or 1 or 2 shots, you know, and, you know, everything evolves, everything, you know, and yes, there should be limits, but the golf ball's been regulated for so long. And the club now with shafts and the head's coefficient of restitution of the balls and the spring effect and of the clubs have been regulated. And I just think that they're looking in the wrong area, because, you know, certainly equipment has contributed to distance and all, but athleticism.
Yeah.
And people studying the ground and studying and find all the software today, people finding the inefficiencies in people's swings and how to use the ground more. And they can optimize everything because of science and technology. And that's always going to result in, more distance or better play. And, as a consumer of golf, as somebody who loves to watch golf, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. These are not negative parts of the game.
Yeah. It's not. We love, why is John Daly still one of the guys that everybody follows out on the senior tour more than anybody else? And it's because he can grip it and rip it still. All right.
Yeah.
It's the long ball hitters that have, it's like if you go to the world of baseball right now and said there's not going to be any more home run derby and you're going to cut the bat so nobody can hit the ball, they're going to cut 30 feet off of the ball so you're not going to hit more home runs. Do you think the game is that more enjoyable? No. Why? Because if they're worried about the size of the stadium, then the stadium has to get bigger or it has to change. And I always say that, look, they're rolling those fairways out there in the tour. They roll them and that ball is rolling. It's about a 13 or 14 on the stimp meter. All right. Let the rough grow. And then people say, well, if you let the rough grow, the tour pros won't like it. Well, if you pull the money from them because the golf ball manufacturers now and equipment companies are going to say, we're not supporting you anymore.
Yeah.
Then maybe you consider letting the rough grow, or you put more out of bounds and you put water hazards because nobody can get out of bounds and water hazards. So these guys are that good. They're that good that you just, if for the betterment of the game, you challenge them maybe a little more.
Yeah. I think back to Bryson's US Open win, right? I think it was at Wingfoot. Is that at Wingfoot, Bryce? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think so.
And so Matt Wolff was floating around even, but Bryson was, I think, 6 under. Matt Wolff ended up finishing even. He was 1 under for a little while, maybe 2, something like that. But the whole field was over par, right? So, and that was fascinating in its own right. Like, that was a fascinating tournament. People like seeing it. And like, the rough was like 9 inches long. I know it was crazy and it was long, but it was, you mix that in here and like now and again. And then you go play the Honda Classic or something like that. And guys go 20 deep. Like, you can mix up the tournaments. It can be different each week. There's ways to make it work. Like, even like the difference with what they do Saturday to Sunday at Augusta, right? Like, there's so many different things. Like, guys can shoot 66 on a Sunday, but not many people are, going 66 or 64 like Rory last year on a Sunday, right? Or sorry, a Thursday they can go deep, but.
You're right, because Augusta is adapting. They bought land, they did this, they increased the length of the holes, they've done certain things, they've changed the tee boxes, the greens. So, the argument about rolling back, you're ruining the golf courses, but there are golf courses that can and will adapt. There's some that can't, but that's the evolution of sports and things. So they got to find a way to adapt, and I think the rules and regulations as they have it now are suffice. But then again, who am I to say? But I just think the game is in a good state, in terms of competitive nature. We love to see the long drives. We love the second shot on a long par 5. And so look, I don't see a need to change. I think it was stated out there. There's it's a solution looking for a problem. And I don't see what the problem is. I really.
I also think that even if they did find a way to do something like roll the golf ball back, guys would just find a way to like make it irrelevant. Like, they would just find a way to hit it farther and be better. Like, they'll always find a way around it. That's
different launch angle,
that's
different swing speeds or compression,
they would just
or
find
something.
a way.
They'll just be a way.
But Bob, I wanted to go a little bit more into the Masters because it is this week. For Sepp, are you guys, with it being such a big tournament, are you guys sending specific shoes for him to wear, or are you guys kind of laid back in the sense of, hey, what do you want? We'll get it to you.
Yeah, we send him everything we have, and he picks and chooses what he wants to wear. And, I feel really great about the fact that he wants to wear a new bold shoe, which he wore last year. And, he finished 7th in FedEx Cup points, and he played all the events, and he competed in all of them. And he gets to pick and choose which ones he wears. And he has a confidence in, I'm sure there's ones that meet his eye that he really likes and feels good for him. But no, we send him everything and he picks and chooses.
Nice.
What does that feel like, Bob, as like an owner of SQAIRZ Golf? Sending your shoes to the 32nd ranked player in the world right now, finished last year at 27, T30 last year at the Masters. And like, what does that feel like to you to kind of like throw on the most, coveted tournament of the year, or one of them anyway? A lot of people, the Masters is kind of the favorite of like the kickstart to the golf season, really. I would say it was last week with Corey Connors winning the Valspar, but as a Canadian up here. But, you see Sepp wearing your shoes, walking around, the most, probably the second most historic course in the game. And, that's got to feel good, right? Like, that's got to be such a cool feeling.
Unbelievable. It is. I feel blessed. I am honored. It's one of the things when you start a company like this that you hope and dream about, and then, you think about it, and, you take it in bites. That, I remember the first year that we're out there, no tour pros were really wearing it until Faldo starts wearing it, but he wasn't on the tour. He was in the booth. And, the next year he goes out and he's at Augusta and he's wearing the shoes we designed for him, the Faldo shoe for the Masters edition. And so he's out there wearing them. So we're on the hallowed ground of somebody wearing them and, walking around talking to people. And then the next year, Sepp is wearing them, and, we feel, I really do. I saw the video today of him. Everybody's texting me, hey, did you see Sepp got a hole-in-one today? And I'm like, geez, are you kidding? And it was like, who would have thought? Here he is. It's all over Twitter. It's probably the biggest news event of the Masters. Yes, it's a Monday. It's a practice day. But, hey, you got to take it when you can get it.
I mean, so far it's been the most talked about thing, I think.
Yeah, he's getting those pip points today. Yeah, he's definitely it's definitely been the biggest thing. Like, I know I had something pop up that Tiger Woods played like a practice round yesterday, and there were a lot of photos of him and stuff like that. That's going to garner a bunch of attention, of course. But Sepp hitting a hole-in-one today was kind of the biggest thing up here that popped up on TSN and Sportsnet and all the other channels and stuff that are up here.
We got one player out on the PGA Tour wearing it, and so how are our odds at this time?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. When you think about it, really, like that's pretty impressive to think about. Like that's your guy there, that's your horse, and he's for today anyways the biggest thing, and he's obviously been for quite a while now. He's been one of the top players in the game. It's not it's not brand new. He's not a brand new player. He's been kind of floating around. He's got a couple wins now on tour. I think he's got 2, right?
He's got 1. You can count that DP tour thing that was in in December there. But he's got 1, but he's got like 8 top 10s, and I say he should have won Hilton Head last year. He should have won the 3M, and it's just
the 3M was there for him. It was that's the one that got away for Sepp for sure. But I wanted to ask that question because I think Brycer and I have a lot of things that pop up on the pod, and like even when we kind of circle back and chat with you, there's a lot of things that we do, and we're like, that was so cool to be able to connect with that person again, or to have this person on, or them to share that story with us, or whatever it may be. So there's got to be a reflection for you of your horse there on the biggest stage in golf, probably, and obviously making a hole-in-one today is pretty crazy. So
it really is a cool thing. It's one of those things that you sit back and you just take note of, and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about Sepp at the Masters, do you talk to him? Like, do you have much communication with him? Have you does he kind of gear up for these tournaments any differently? Is he happy to be there, or is he ready to kind of make that next step?
I don't know about that. I text with him. I talk with him, but not like that. I'll be like, is there anything you need? How are they working for you? Is there anything, you think? But the last thing, the last thing you want to do during a week like this is communicate with these guys. These guys are focused, they're true professionals, and we'll communicate. I'll get a text or an email from his agent saying, hey, Sepp needs some more shoes. And then I'll text back, like to Sepp, I'll say, hey, any particular colors or anything you want, stuff like that. But I don't really talk. There'll be times that we'll say good luck, hey, SQAIRZ Nation is rooting for you and things like that. But as he starts the tournament, I do not text him at all. Like after he won the Honda, I text him and said, congratulations, love it, this thing. And he said, thank you very much, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Is there, Bob, if you don't mind me asking, is there anything in your collection that you, like any keepsakes, like memorabilia that you've, like I know the signed John Daly shoes that I won way back, like those are definitely one of my like prized pieces. I love John Daly growing up, but like, is there anything that you have in your collection that you're not prying, you're not letting anybody else get a piece of that?
Well, truth be told, you said you'd have me on the podcast. That's why I sent you those shoes, and you told everybody you won. And I mean, let's be honest here. I mean,
that was before we had the podcast going at the time, but that was before. Man, I did all the the Facebook, Twitter, the Instagram, all the other different things, man. The email, I won those fair and square.
Yeah, John Daly was like one of my golf idols growing up. So he was like the guy. And so I've got a signed pair from him that I keep near and dear. And Faldo, when we signed Faldo, about a month later, we went to Texas to this unbelievable course called Merido. And it is a gem. And we did filming there. And so, I was very humbled. And, I said, Sir Nick, would you mind signing a pair of shoes for me? And he made a nice inscription on the shoes, and he said, glad to be on the team. My best, Sir Nick. And so those will always be near and dear to me. Those ones. Yeah,
I feel like in maybe like one of the first models or something like that came through, like those would be really, really cool things. Like the reason why I thought about that is, Bryce, remember I had that mic that went down like mid-episode. We recorded a couple of episodes like back to back. It was like my first mic, so I was down there like I'm into these, like I don't know if you see Coach Rusty, he does all these like paintings and stuff like that. So I was like, I put the mic there and I was just splattering paint all over it. It's broken now, but I was like, I got to do something with it. I feel like I couldn't throw it out. I'm trying to like get rid of some of the stuff that's in the area, and I was just I was thinking I got to do something with it, make something out of this. And I don't know, you have like little keepsakes like that, right? A bunch of stickers from everybody who sends them on the pod and stuff like that, and different things. So it's kind of cool to you open up that valuables bag in your golf bag and you got a bunch of different things. Like I know Bryce has got a whole collection of stuff too, so it's cool. It's cool. Like we're all
I also have, when we run a pair of shoes and then we decide to go to market, they have what they call a confirmation pair, and I sign one shoe and send the other back to the factory. So I've got all those shoes, of all the different colors and models, and that's pretty cool too. But Sir Nick coming on, that really jump-started this company in a big way, so that will always be special.
Yeah, I just want to go into the PGA show a little bit this year. I know you said you were going to have a booth there. Unfortunately, me and Mac didn't make it up this year, but you want to just let us know how that went and how it was?
Yeah, it was great. This is our first year. So the way the PGA show works is you're on the main floor, or they used to do these rooms up off the floor. And, for those people who weren't really big enough or couldn't afford it, they had these rooms off to the sides, and you had to walk off the main floor, up a couple steps, flights rather, and then find the room. So for the first 2 years, we were there. And this year we hit the floor, and we said, look, we're not going to go and get a 10 by 10 space. You're as big as you look sometimes, and a lot of times you want to look bigger than you are. Mm-hmm. So we went out, we got a 20 by 30, which still, relatively speaking, isn't massive at that show. But we made a pretty good statement. It said, hey, we belong. We're part of the footwear conversation. We need to put ourselves out there in a big way, and, say to the industry that, we're here, we're growing, we got new models, we're here to stay. And so I was really pleased. It was a good feeling. We had a tremendous amount of traffic. I mean, I don't think we sat down once. We had the demo day on Tuesday, which is great because people come to the largest driving range, and they say in the world, but I know it's definitely in the country. It's the largest driving. It's like this huge, octagon or pentagon, and it's massive. And
Yeah,
even
I've heard about
Justin
that one.
James
Yeah.
can hit from one side to the other. I mean, it's like 500 yards from one to the other. But you let people hit in the shoes and see the differences, and then Wednesday through Friday, you're on the floor, and like I said, our booth was good size. We had a good display at the in a tent at the demo day, so it was good. It was really very productive.
So, Bob, are you guys? I guess like you could sell them at the show directly if you wanted, but are most of the sales coming off the website? Are you guys getting into a lot of course clubhouses? Are you trying to get into any like other big golf stores? How's that traffic working for you guys?
Yeah, so we're up until this year, we were 100% online. And so we started working with a lot of pro shops that would call us and say, my members get credit, would like to order a pair. Do you have a wholesale program? I get people asking me, do you support the PGA professionals? And, we don't want to say no. So we started doing that. And then we got some good advice and said, well, maybe you do a display program. You put a couple of pairs in every shop. And because you're direct to consumer, if somebody can come in, pick their size, say, hey, I like that. Can you get me a size 11? The pro goes online, orders it. It's there in 2 days. And the pro makes a margin, and, the consumer is happy. So we've done that. We've branched out and did this display program with a handful, maybe about 30 courses. And, we're testing this out. But right now, we're just direct to the consumer. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can try them, put them on, make sure they fit, walk around the house. If they don't, send them back free. We send you a new pair. So it's a pretty easy process.
No brainer.
Yeah, is that where you guys are comfortable for, maybe like 2023? I'm sure you guys get together and like, talk to the team about what you're kind of thinking about for the future, how you want it to expand. Is that kind of what's working best for you guys right now?
It is. But it's funny. The footwear in general, most people want to try the shoe on before they buy it.
Yeah.
And COVID changed all of that. And I don't know the exact number. Let's just say that 20% of the people felt comfortable buying it online because they could return it. And then maybe after COVID, it was like 40%, you know? So there's a huge uptick in people who buy shoes online, and then stores like Zappos and other companies like that. That's what they do. So I think to really capture more market share, we'll have to consider that going forward, is to branch out to, golf retailers and
it's all got to kind of grow in concession too. Like, like the team has to grow, and you got to see the numbers to do that. Like I understand that would be, I don't know, something that's out of my range anyway. That's not really anything that I've been into. Can we quickly talk about the team a little bit? Like, I know when I've talked to you in the past, I know you set me up to speak with one of the other young ladies that work there. Are you guys all like pretty close? Like, do you have a pretty big team that are working with you? Or are you looking to expand? Or are you bringing on new people?
Yeah, we've got 11 people in the company, of which we've got 4 people in customer service, and we've got a VP of operations, and the rest is really marketing. And we've got 1 person in design. And it's, we've really got a great team. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, most people come on and they'll say this, but we really do. We've got people that are over this age bracket of anywhere from, we've got a gentleman who's been in the golf industry for a very long time. He's over 70 years old, but he worked at the Golf Channel, and he knows golf marketing, and he's been in the sports golf industry for almost ever. And then we've got some very young people at the age of 24 to 28. They're in that social media kind of mindset that grew up with this versus somebody my age that I couldn't have, social media was something I didn't even understand.
Yeah, putting together pyramids and stuff like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And they understand how to they understand. All right, now we're going to start talking hockey. Just for that, we're going to start talking hockey.
This is over now.
But yeah, but anyway, it's fun because I learn a lot. I really do, and I have my perspective, which is different from theirs sometimes. But we always find a way to get to a good place, and so. The team is important, and but they're all very dedicated to our success and challenges. And it's like I tell them, I never worked in my whole career. I never worked for Coca Pepsi. I always worked for that brand that was number 5 to 6, trying to beat up on those guys, trying to make it. And that's what we're doing here.
Well, and that's why I asked that, because the last couple of brands that we've had on the owners or the founders have been like really, really strong and like really about their team. Last week we had a company on called, or a couple weeks back now, Triple Bogey Brewing. So they're the biggest like golf beer in Canada. They're down in the States a little bit, but Jeff and his team were, again, small team, probably 7 or 8 staff, but they're all very busy and they all work extremely hard. They sold like 5 million cans over the last 10 years. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's just, that's a lot of beer to be drank, but they're all like really hard workers. And it kind of reminds me, how he reminds me a lot of you, and how it's, you're just all about the brand. Like, you wake up every day, it's about SQAIRZ, right? You're just like research, connecting with the team, whatever it may be, whatever you got to do to put more shoes on people's feet. That's kind of how it sounds. And it definitely comes off like your passion just before you took that break about, getting people in the shoes is cool. It's impressive. It's really cool.
I also love the fact that even like you being the owner, you're so involved, right? You're there, you're doing it, you're a part of it. It's not like you're sitting at a desk or on your couch barking orders at people. Like, you're involved, you're giving your opinion, you're making decisions. And I think that goes a long way with people, especially when you come on podcasts and such as like this. Like, you get to express you as a person and not so much you as a company, if that makes sense.
It does, because what, there's people behind every company. There is, and it is a people business. And, when I started this, I answered for the first 9 months, I answered every email. I returned phone calls because we just had a voicemail box, and I called people back and I listened to what they had to say and that. And, it really is a people business, particularly in golf. It's all about relationships, friendships. It's all about treating people the way they want to be treated and expect to be treated and should be treated. And that's what we do. We try to do here. Have we, had a couple of situations where that didn't work out, but yeah, that's with any business. But again, our mantra is that, there's people behind us. We all care. We're deeply involved. Look, I am all night. If I'm sitting here watching a Bruins game, I'm still, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, looking at what people are saying, what people are texting, emailing, and I'm always checking that stuff out. And if there's a situation, if somebody feel they were wronged in some way or shape or form, I make the phone call. I call people and I get on the phone and I say, look, I'm very sorry. How can I fix this? How can I make it right?
Which I think goes a long way with people, and more than people really think.
Yeah, and I actually enjoy it. I really do. I enjoy it. I don't enjoy the fact that there's a problem, but I enjoy talking to people and say, look, what can I do to make it? Make it right.
Well, and that's it. Sometimes people just want to be heard, right? Like, it just, for whatever reason, if they've worn the shoe or if they've got a blister or whatever it might be, like, sometimes they just want to be heard, right? And then there's
100%.
But Bob,
and we had that problem when we first started. We used a material in the collar area that once moisture built up, the sock would stick to the back of the shoe. And we kept saying, wait a minute, it must be sizing. It must be sizing.
Yeah.
you know, we couldn't figure, and then finally we figured it out. And, you know, anybody that complained, we replaced the shoes.
But hey, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of trolls out there. I know a lot of Bruins fans. There's a lot of trolls out there, man, that just want to just get a rise out of you and just kind of, you know, get their 2 cents in, say what they can.
There's a lot of fans out there, unlike, you know, the Maple Leafs, which, you know, I mean,
I don't even know if the Leafs have any true fans left. I think we're all just we're just stuck in the twilight zone up here. But Bob, we love this, man. This is always so great. It's always so great chatting with you. We got to get together sometime. I know you and Bryce aren't too far. You guys got to get together for a round. I got to get down there. You know, hopefully.
I wouldn't say we're close, but yeah, it's.
I don't know, man.
You're probably closer than I am.
I might be.
I'm going to give you guys an open invitation here that, you know, I live in New Hampshire. We've got a very nice home that, you know, very, very hard for. We live on a lake, and have you guys come down. We'll eat some lobster, some steak, and then go play some golf, and I get 6 shots aside.
Yeah, apparently I need shots on Bryce now though too. He's this guy's going low, but I think I've probably told this story randomly on the pod in the past. Like even when Terry and I were probably talking about when I was down east last time, I had like 30 lobster rolls on. I was just going to different places. I was having like 2 a day. Probably got gout down there in like a 2-week holiday, but I was just like checking out all these different lobster rolls, all these different places. So I love lobsters. Probably one of my favorite foods. So I'll come just for that. But
yeah, we might. Hampshire's 12 hours for me.
That's worth a drive, man. That's a small drive.
Oh,
small drive.
I'm not saying it's not worth it. Small drive. Just saying it's a little far.
Yeah,
well, listen, I'll tip you with some lobster, some steak, and
we'll figure something out
here.
That'd be awesome.
And all that. So, like I said, it's an open invitation.
We got to get down there, and if not, at least for the PGA show next year, we might be in one of those small booths upstairs, but maybe we'll do a bunch of live pods or something up there. I don't know how those things work, but yeah, we might be tucked in one of those little corners, but you never know.
We'll be in the janitor closet, but it's all right. We'll start somewhere.
Bryce and I will just be the 2 guys walking around sticking a mic in people's faces. That'll just be it. Right. There'll be no booth, but yeah.
You know what? You don't need a booth for you guys. That's the thing to do, is to go around and check out the products, talk to people, and do live from the PGA show.
Well, Bryce did at the Detroit show, and we actually got a good couple of contacts there. It was great. The Toronto show was cool up here. It was huge. We had the Toronto Pro Show, or the Toronto Golf Show on here, which was it's the biggest golf show in Canada. Not as big as the PGA show, but it was really cool. So it's definitely something that we got to try and get there. We got to get we got to figure something out. We got to start.
Yeah, Bob, you guys should look into going to the Michigan one next year. It's big. It's really big. It's definitely one of the
regional shows that, you know, just the time and the effort and the manpower needed to do it. It's extraordinary. It really is. And, you know, it's just, there's so much to do, particularly, you know, you go to the PGA show and then you get back and it's gearing up for Masters, you know, because that's when it really kind of kicks off, you know, and you gear up with your marketing plans and try to implement some of the things you learn at the show. And it's just so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I know a guy, Bryce, that lives pretty close to that area. He's got about 4 hours worth of pod listening to or talking about these shoes. That might be a good contact for you to just send him over with a couple pairs of shoes. He's not a bad looking guy, this guy, to represent the brand out there. Might work out. Look at this guy. Come on, he's not so bad. Again, anybody who's checking us out on YouTube, he's not saying anything right now. He's just quiet. Come on, Bryce.
Well, I completely missed that, whatever you were saying.
I was saying that you've got 4 hours worth of, talk and research on the brand, and maybe you throw a couple pairs of SQAIRZ on and you grab a hoodie or something like that.
Yeah,
and then you go to the Detroit show. Yeah, that's perfect.
I can do it. I'll run the whole booth right now.
Subcontract them out. That's perfect. Yeah. That's perfect. There we go.
Hey, Bryce, what'd you think of the shoes? Did you get them?
I haven't got them yet. They both got sent to Mac. So
they both came to me.
I'll be getting them.
Okay. So he's holding the
I'm going home April 21st, so I'll be able to get them then.
We'll have them in.
I wish I had known. I would have sent them to where you're at.
It's all right. No big deal.
Yeah, I think when you said that the addresses were in there, I assumed that Brycers were on there. But we'll get them soon, and we'll play. Hopefully, Brycer and I can play around out in them. You never know with this weather that we get up here, I'm
playing Saturday, so hopefully I can stay low.
Yeah, things are going well for Bryce. But thanks so much, Bob. Appreciate you taking time again. Always nice. We always have tons to talk about. Thanks, anybody who's kind of tuned in this long. Thanks for dealing with our Boston Bruins Leafs chat and banter off the start. Yeah, but it's kind of how the pod's been going off the last couple, and playoff hockey's starting to heat up, and I think we're all kind of ready for it. And yeah, Leafs in 6, I think.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, probably, right?
What, in 6 years?
Yeah, Leafs in 6 years. Yeah, once they trade Matthews, get Connor Bedard, and start the rebuild, maybe Leafs in 6 years. Might be more than that, but we're a ways out from that. But Bob, thank you. Appreciate the shoes, man. It's always so great.
Thank you so much for all that you do. You know, I told you this before, and I'll keep telling you. It's guys like you that allow me to come on and tell my story and get it out there. And for that, I'm very grateful. So thank you, boys. I appreciate it.
Hey, open invitation as well. Anytime, whenever you guys get a new model, new Sepp wins again, anytime, man. It's we just love having you on, have a conversation. It's a lot of fun for us too.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Bob. Thanks.
All right, boys. Well, listen, have a great night.
All right, Leafs in 6.
He's out in my ball in the course, so I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross working.